All right, shalom. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Aman. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Appreciate you guys coming in. Lighting is not that great, but we're thankful. A little cold out here, cold hands, warm heart, all that great stuff. Thank you guys for coming on. Some of you coming in from the Patreon session. I would suggest if you didn't get a chance to look at that Patreon session, go and listen to that. We got some stuff for you to be able to hear that I think would really bless you and be able to help you with the mindset of what we're trying to make sure that we obtain as a people, as a nation, as a royal priesthood, as a peculiar people, as people who are like-minded. How you guys doing? Come on in. And tonight I want to, I'm sorry. Once again, this is Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ. We're always changing lives one mind at a time, being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. We give all honor and praise once again to the Most High Yahweh Elohim. I give all honor and praise to him for my wife, the Honorable Alma, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And so we're thankful and grateful to be able to be in your presence today. To the moderators, to the ministerial staff, to SOC, to those that agree with us, disagree with us, etc. We appreciate you nonetheless. And we're thankful and grateful to come on here one more again and have this conversation with you all. And once again, those coming over from Patreon, we just had a great conversation. And hopefully that conversation with a couple homework assignments we gave will be able to bless you and help you to be able to hear some things and see that when we say same old, when we say ain't nothing new under the sun, when we say that we need to try something different, when we talk about our diaspora, we talk about what our goals are as far as even nation building, and people try to tell us we're terrible because we're nationalists. You can see there's a conversation that's continued over and over again. Tonight, though, I want to focus on Breonna Taylor because quiet is kept. Everybody kind of forgot about this woman who had her life taken. And the reality is that we should not. Right? And it's important that we talk about what's going on and the fact that her case, well, she doesn't have a case, but the case involving her murderers are still going on and ongoing. We know this because it's not me calling her a murderer, but it is now the federal government. The Attorney General of the United States Corporation has now decided to step in and make sure that we are aware of these different things that are going on, right? There's also other things that we might mention. We might mention Brittany Griner, not sure, but there's a lot of different things. We talked about Brittany Griner on Patreon, by the way, so hopefully you guys kind of listen to what I have to feel about that on there. But shalom to everybody. Welcome. How you doing, Ms. Mac? How you doing, Bounty? How you doing, Minister Tamara? Hello. Is it? I don't know if I'm saying this right. Caleb Bell 5, I believe. Thanks for being on today with us. Oh, no problem, Miss Mac. No problem, Miss Mac. Hopefully all is well with you. And how you doing, Minister Joseph? So today we want to talk about Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. And I don't always do this much of talking about people who are shot and all that as much, because as I tell you guys bring up situations to me. There's so many of them that go on. I can't keep up. And a lot of times, I'm being honest, if I'm going to be on a public platform, represent the diaspora in the manner that we do, as much as activism as we try to be partakers of, and a lot of stuff we do behind the scenes that a lot of people are unaware of. Real talk, it's a lot to always see and hear and read about us being killed. And sometimes I have to decompress. Sometimes I have to release some of that and let go and focus on things that are not as deadly for us. I don't mind representing those things and talking about those things and being a voice for the voiceless in those situations and helping people even behind the scenes and getting people that can help them way more than I ever can. I'm just being honest. Sometimes it's mind numbing to keep watching your people get shot, keep watching them be strangled, keep watching them say how they can't breathe. The list of things goes on and on and on, right? So I'm just being honest with you. Sometimes I got to take a break and decompartmentalize. Or compartmentalize things rather, so I can talk about them. Excuse me, decompress is what I was going for. But I'm not going to be in front of you guys long. one of the reasons we are doing these lives earlier, especially when we're doing classes, is due to the fact that we have class today, Sovereignty 1 at 8:30. So I got to be ready for that. So I'll probably be finished with this about 8:20 or so, so I can be in position. And we can be ready to make sure that we give the teaching that's necessary for Sovereignty 1 at 8:30, Sovereignty 2 at 9:15. By the way, those that are taking those classes, we do have recordings, especially for Sovereignty 2. Those recordings should be uploaded before class starts. So you should be able to look at not only recordings of stuff that we've done live, but even the recordings for the makeups. For those that are taking Sovereignty 1, we got to do makeup because I had that week that I wasn't feeling so well. So we got to make sure we do everybody's DS11 meetings. So we'll do that this week or the next couple of weeks, make sure we get everybody together. How you doing, Minister Morel? How you doing? And so what we're going to talk about today, once again, just real brief tonight. Say her name, Breonna Taylor, because a lot of people don't realize that there's a trial going on about Breonna Taylor's murder. However, Breonna Taylor's family, Breonna Taylor still can't get a trial for her murder. Right? How you doing, Sister Cynthia? Now, if you're not aware of what I'm saying, what I mean is that basically all the stuff that people said we were wrong about, all the stuff that people said we had a victim mentality, all the stuff that people said they were looking for drugs in her home and she had drugs and she was still trying to support her boyfriend who was in there. We were trying to tell you that if you knew how warrants work, because a lot of you are not into sovereignty and not into protecting yourselves. So you think that if somebody has a warrant for your arrest or has a warrant to be able to look through your stuff or has some kind of signed document, you don't realize you're supposed to go ahead and read it first. And so since you haven't learned how to read a warrant and you don't care about learning how to read a warrant, because a lot of people still have a slave mentality. How you doing, Minister Shante? A lot of people aren't aware of that. So we were trying to tell people, if you know how to read a warrant, that warrant is not real, right? Somebody made that up and you can tell that thing was not authorized. Matter of fact, just to let y'all know, if somebody ever knocks on your door, police open up, right? And they say, we have a warrant to be able to search or arrest, blah, blah. They're supposed to slide the warrant under your door. You need to know your rights, though. You need to know law that protects your rights. And you need to be able to say, well, slide it under the door so I can look at it. And if they say I don't have to slide it under the door, then they're outside of their jurisdiction. Right. So even if they do eventually come in, arrest you, all that, let them take you and everything, but make sure that you tell them, hey, you didn't even let me look at the warrant, because the warrant is supposed to tell you, this is supposed to inform you what they are allowed to do. They'll just have a piece of paper if you're not careful and be like, we got a warrant, and they might not even have a warrant. You're supposed to be able to read the paper, and whatever the judge says, right, or whoever they went to get permission, it's supposed to tell you specifically what they're allowed to do in the situation that they're in. If they're allowed to search your home, so be it, right? But what if it says they're allowed to search your home, but they're searching your home for a person? If they're searching your home for a person and they start going through your drawers, you say, time out. That's not what the warrant says. There's no person that can fit in the drawer, unless you're looking for a newborn, right? If you're looking for somebody on here who fits a description of somebody that's 6 feet tall, well, you can't find them in the drawer. So don't look in my drawer for a person, right? Don't take my sheets off my bed for a person. You see what I'm saying? If they start trying to search through your car, right? Especially if your car, let's say your car is not in the driveway, right? Because it didn't say your property, it might say your home. If it says your property, they might say it's your car. But what if your car is parked out in public parking on the street? Well, you say, hell, hold on, don't go out to my car. You see what I'm saying? You said you're white and you're not letting some fool come in because they say they have a warrant. Yeah, I'm just saying white or black. I'm not saying white or I didn't say that if you're white, you shouldn't do it either. I'm saying with anybody. Okay. Right. But a lot of people don't know law is the point. And a lot of our people don't know law. So if we want to make sure that we do this, we have to look eye to eye rather than looking for somebody else to be able to lift us up. We need to make sure we're aware of how law works. Okay. So that being said, once again, so when it comes to Breonna Taylor's situation, not only did they not let him read the warrant, not only did they not inform them that they had a warrant, but the same stuff we were trying to tell people, it was not a real warrant. And even to get the warrant, they lied. Right. So people said, well, the state is with it. And see, we got this Sambo spirit. We got this black guy to stand up and to say that, hey, you guys are making too much of this and it's not about race and blah, blah, and this and that or whatever. We're not even fine. Even if it's not about race, it's about a young woman, right, who you're not treating as a woman. But once again, Black's Law Dictionary, she's not considered to be a real person. Nevertheless, you mistreated this woman. We want justice. If it's even according to your system, then you should make sure that these people, this family, has peace, as much peace as they can get out of this, and justice. State says we don't care about that or whatever. Federal government now steps in. Let's give credit where credit is due. You said that you didn't know they had to slide a warrant. You can ask them to. Either way, you have to read the warrant. The warrant authorizes them, and you have to be in line with that authority. If you aren't in line with their authority, well, then if you are a threat to the public, then they can go ahead and try and get you. But you have a right to read the warrant, right? They can tell you they have something all day. It's like if somebody comes on your property is a loadie. If you own it, right, your property is yours. So if a police officer comes on here right now, this is my property. This is mine, 100%. I'm not paying no mortgage and stuff. Like if I go down south, that's mine, right? Wherever I am, that's mine. So if you come on my property, according to your laws, and you say that you want to come at me, time out. You cannot come at me. First things first, you need to show me 3 forms of identification. Well, I'm a police officer. My badge is no. No, your badge is not identification. I need picture ID or something that I can say, right? I need you to have something. Give me a social security card that your system says that verifies you. Then show me your picture ID. Show me another picture ID that's a police ID. Don't just give me a badge, because you could have bought a badge at the store. There's a lot of people that have done that, where they bought badges, they bought uniforms, they've bought fatigues, they've arrested people, and then they were really kidnapping them. Well, when we're saying your land is allodial, it just basically means it's yours. You own it. Like once it's allodial, it's yours. Like they can't take it from you, and you have certain rights of that land. Especially if you have a bundle of rights. A lot of people buy land, they don't have a bundle of rights. Bundle of rights literally means, basically, long story short, it's all mine. Everything up and down, even in the air, everything, it's mine. Everything that comes with it, I have a right to ownership over everything. Right? If I could just make it real short and sweet, which I got to tonight, unfortunately, because like I said, I got to kind of get off at about 8:20. That's why we're trying to start these things early, especially on certain days to where we got to teach earlier in the night, right? But look up allodial, look up the definition of that, and especially from Black's Law Dictionary perspective. But look it up, period, and you'll discover that it's very important to recognize and make sure that your space is recognized as allodial, that you know what that is. You recognize it. How you doing, Sister Deborah? So they came in, but this is an apartment building, so we can't even say that per se. But they still, if they're coming for it and they say they have a warrant, she's supposed to read the warrant. She was shot up, and I didn't even know until recently what the angle was. I thought they actually came and shot up the door, but they shot up the glass door, the balcony door, right? And the police and one of the police officers, who everybody said, hey, the state let him free and everything. Guess what? Come to find out that police officer apparently shot 10 times through a glass door, right? And tried to say that he shot it because he saw somebody with a rifle. That was something that a lot of y'all didn't even know, or nobody wanted to talk about. The police officer said the reason why I shot is because the guy shot one of our officers in the leg. He was down, and I saw him with a rifle. There was never any rifle found on the scene, and they found the gun that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend had. By the way, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend didn't live there, and they said that they came there looking for drugs because Breonna Taylor we don't know how deep the relationship was, but apparently she had some kind of relationship with somebody, and they said that guy lived in her apartment. Problem is, though, the drug dealer they said they were looking for, he was already in jail and had been in jail for months. If you were looking for the drugs that he had, then you got to ask him about the drugs first. Or if you're doing some research, you could have asked him. It was something, though, that the detectives were just basically trying to get an arrest. This happens all the time, happens all over the place, right? To people of many different colors, where detectives are just trying to go ahead and win a case. They need to look great on their jobs that they have. And so what do? They come up with false stuff, and they falsify things. So they falsified information. They gave false information to make it look like there was a possibility that she had drugs in her apartment. They went ahead and just to remind, some of you know this, but just as a reminder, maybe this is news to some of you. So they falsify the information. They say she's got drugs in her apartment. They get a sign off on it off of false information. The state never even inquired. That brother that was out there that everybody said, see, there's a black guy, and therefore since the black guy's in a position of power, and he's saying, leave this alone. Stop talking about this BLM. Stop talking about this black folks. Stop talking about this Breonna Taylor's family. Stop talking about this diaspora. The reality is that they lied. How do we know that they lied? Because when the federal government got involved, it's a whole different level. The state was trying to make sure that they kept this, they suppressed it. They were trying to make sure there was nothing to see here. They were trying to act like their cops are fine. Don't get in our business. When the federal government got involved, and it's the Attorney General of the United States of America See, and that's what I say about sovereignty. The United States of America is supposed to not only protect the public, but even the rights of the private, right? And so you had somebody who took and upheld his position. Not everybody in the United States of America. That's why I say the system is corrupt, but not everybody in the system is trying to live corrupt. Some people actually want to do the right thing. This person said, hey, wait a minute, we can't let you off. Let's look into this. And as soon as they started looking into it, it was the female detective out of the two detectives. There's two detectives. I think there's three people of high position that are on trial, and the police officer who was acquitted of murder, or really, he wasn't even acquitted of murder because Breonna Taylor is still not on trial, right? The murder of Breonna Taylor, they said it's not a murder. Federal government can't really overturn that. So the family's going to have to have to try and sue the state and try to win through that, right? And which they probably will. Just like, for example, Martin Luther King Jr., people say that there was never any justice. Well, technically, yes, there was never any justice. However, his family sued the state because Martin Luther King Jr. didn't die from the gunshot wound. He died from being smothered in the hospital. So his family sued the state, and that's how they won the case. They got paid by the state because the state allowed somebody to come into his hospital room and smother him, right? So same thing's probably going to happen with Breonna Taylor. Right, same type of thing. By the way, if you want to take it outside of race, same thing that happened with O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, you couldn't get him in the criminal case, so you sued and you won, and he had to keep paying your family. Right, so in some kind of way, the family can say, at least we have some kind of admittance, and we can have some kind of stuff. Because really, when they put you in prison, all they're doing is basically that person is now given slave labor, and the state is getting paid. So if you sue O.J. Simpson, well, at least you get paid. State gets paid a little bit. So in a sense, it's the same thing. When you put somebody in prison, you're just putting them in slave camp and in slave labor, and somebody's making money. It's capitalism, right? So the family of Breonna Taylor is probably going to have to do that to be able to get justice. But see, they won't put him, the murderer, on trial for Breonna Taylor, but they can still say, we'll put you in prison. And by the way, all of these people who were in prison, all the people who said it was a lie, this and that, all of them could probably serve their maximum sentence that they can get. And I'm not saying what they should or shouldn't fight for, right? I'm just trying to show you how the system works and how everybody said this was wrong. All of them might have up to maximum sentence is what? Life in prison. Life in servitude. Life as a slave. All these people were saying, no, this stuff, no, you're making up this and that or whatever. No, federal government got involved as soon as they did. Female detective. Oh, okay, I know the federal government, y'all have messed me up. The feds don't play. Right? When the feds come for you, like if the feds come for you, they're coming because they have evidence, right? So when the feds come for you, they're coming because they have evidence. The feds ain't just randomly showing up, right? The feds, when they break down, right? When you see that they got, what's his name? Was it Young Thug or whoever it was? And the other cat in Atlanta, when they came for them with them RICO charges, right? Now that wasn't the feds. I guess you could say that was the state. Georgia has its own version of RICO charges. But when the state or the fed come on you with that level, they're coming because they know something. So the feds have been working on this for months. And they finally got enough information to where they said, okay, when they questioned her with specific things, the detective, and the detective started singing. Which means now we know they're guilty. We know they're guilty. You said, dude, don't do crimes. I agree with you. That's why I don't. We're talking about the police officers and the people that are going to did the crime of lying about Breonna Taylor stuff, and they're going to go ahead and go to jail. So thank you so much. I don't do crimes. I would suggest that you don't do the same. Right? People coming on here with the racism thing. Right. But see, I'm talking about Breonna Taylor. People were so busy talking about don't do crime. Breonna Taylor, don't do crime. Breonna Taylor, you did this. You sound just like him. You must have been one of them. Right. Breonna Taylor, don't do crime. Don't do crime. You shouldn't have been involved in drugs. They lied about all of it. They admitted to it. They already sang and might get life imprisonment. So tell that police officer who lied. And still you guys won't allow Breonna Taylor's family to get justice anyways, because you're not going to put him in prison for killing Breonna Taylor. You're going to put him in prison for everything you can because the federal government can't overturn it. Tell that state that did that to Breonna Taylor, tell them to not do crimes, right? Why don't you tell Brett Favre to stop stealing from the people of Mississippi, white and black people he was stealing from? It ain't about white or black. Why don't you tell the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, who was also stealing from those people of Mississippi? Why don't you tell the former governor of Mississippi to not do crime as well? Don't just come on here because you see somebody that's black and you're dealing with racist issues and you don't like the fact that somebody's calling out a system and all you can see is black and white, Republican, Democrat. I'm not bound to those things. You go tell your system. You go tell your people. And when you tell your people to stop doing crimes, how about this? Then I'll tell my people to stop worrying about your people doing crimes. Hallelujah. Right? I don't know why people come on here thinking that we're under their authority. That's the problem. Is you're under the authority of somebody that wants to separate. I didn't mention black or white. And I made the point to be very careful to mention people of both sides. You go tell your people to stop doing crimes. You tell your people to stop doing that, if that's what it's going to be about. And even if you're not white, black, whatever you want to call yourself, right? You go tell the people that have your mindset that says that somebody can simply say that a woman that was killed, her family deserves justice. And your first response to that is that I should stop doing crimes. I didn't shoot anybody. I'm not a police officer. I didn't falsify any documents, and I'm not under investigation by the federal government. And then that same attorney general that let everything slide, now he's running for governor. Tell and if he wins, I want you to do this. Go tell that governor to stop doing crimes because he's in on it because he allowed it to happen. And and if he becomes governor, tell him to overturn it. Tell him that he needs to allow that case to be opened back up so that Breonna Taylor's family can get justice. And tell him to admit that he did wrong. You hear what I'm saying? This is why people don't like coming on lives and things like this and having this conversation, because we will call you out too. Right? I don't mind saying her name, Breonna Taylor. I wish I could say every single person, but there's so many of them that get killed by these police officers of many different colors, by the way, that is hard to keep up. So I can't say all their names. But tonight we're going to say her name, Breonna Taylor. I don't get a chance to do this as often as I used to. But we used to just only do activism. Now focus on the kingdom. But the kingdom means that we have to operate in activism because people who are being shot just because of the color of their skin and not being treated as human beings, that they deserve to be treated as human. So we should stand up no matter what the color of your skin is. When it comes to morality, you are immoral if you can't stand up for somebody. If your first response to the person that committed the crime of murder is to say that the murdered should stop committing crime, then you are the problem. And see, people don't like it when we talk about this. People want me to always be nice and friendly and stuff. And sometimes I am. And I'm still being nice. I'm still not cursing. I'm still not yelling. I'm still not. People don't like it because I got a loud voice. I'm 6'5.5". I got a deep voice. I can't help the fact that I'm louder than many are. Right. I try my best to hold it down. But at the end of the day, if you are against, especially Yah's people, and you think you have the right to be able to kill, I speak. The Bible says that we can do this. I speak a curse upon thee in the name of Yahweh, because anybody that is killing off people just for the sake of killing them, you are living under a curse, and my people are coming from under the curse, and we speak that curse off of us, and you're going to deal with it. I'm not cursed to think that reparations means we got to get it from somebody else. We're about inward reparations. We will repair ourselves. You go ahead and deal with what you're dealing with. Right? I cover Breonna Taylor's family. I cover our people in the blood of Yahshua. Matter of fact, excuse me, I can't even cover him. I just simply agree with the covering because of the covering of Yahshua upon and over our people, because we're a holy nation and a royal priesthood and a chosen generation and a peculiar people, because we listen to the spirit of the Most High, because we are now no longer under condemnation, because the spirit that rose Yahshua from the dead, it dwells within us and quicken our mortal bodies, because of the calling on our lives that says that the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared to the glory which shall be revealed, because of the fact that we are manifesting as sons so that other people can see what we as sons can do, as children of the Most High can do, because all things are working together for our benefit, because we are more than conquerors. I speak against it right now in Yahweh's name. And I know that ain't something that some of y'all want to hear, because some of y'all want to hear be nice, friendly, cordial, this, that, or whatever. But sometimes you got to turn over a table. Sometimes your anger is righteous indignation. Sometimes it's okay to say that being disobedient to the law shall be called out. Right? That spirit is not going to vex anybody on here tonight. I'm not speaking to it because you're vexing me. I'm speaking to it because that spirit has no place, even virtually, in this assembly. Period. Amen. Because those who are wicked, right? They trying to take, right? They trying to take this by force. Right? The kingdom of heaven, they try to take it by violence, and the violence should take it by force. I speak against the violence of those who would speak against the murdered, the violent mindset, right? Of anybody, of any race that gets killed. But tonight I'm talking about Breonna Taylor. And those who think that it's okay to go ahead and put Brittany Griner in prison. And I know, look, maritime law, she knew, she should have known better. And I believe she did know better, but I don't really know. I don't really know for sure. I can't say I'm intimate with it, but even Brittany Griner, who's over in Russia right now, she should have known better. At the end of the day, though, right? Anybody who's saying that, and I don't care what your position, I don't care if you don't like her attitude, I don't care if you don't like it because she doesn't have the same sexuality that you think is there, whatever. At the end of the day, I speak a curse against anybody that thinks that that sister should go ahead and be in a prison and be jacked up and have to fight for her life and be in a literal, she gonna be hitting rocks. They want her to be hitting rocks and doing that for 9 years. Anybody that thinks that she deserves that, you are lower than an infidel. Anybody still talking about it's okay for somebody to be making money off of signing Skittles bags because he killed a young black boy. I speak a curse upon thee. Because I simply speak the will of Yah, right? If you think it's okay to murder people, the way that you murder people, you shall be murdered. Judge the way you want to be judged. Everybody likes Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Given it shall be given unto thee. Elohim's measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet, shall it be given unto thee. But I'm here to tell you, right before the verse before it, it says this: judge the way you want to be judged, condemn the way you want to be condemned. If you can't forgive, be ready to not be forgiven. So if you can't get that down, if you want to judge that it's okay to kill a little boy and to have the killer still be signing Skittles bags and people still be lifting up and raising funds for him to be able to keep getting in trouble for weapons and killing other people and shooting at police officers, do all types of stuff. If that's the curse that you want to live by, I'm here to tell you that you will get every piece of that curse that you want. Tonight, though, we say her name, Breonna Taylor. 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 Y'all take care of yourselves. I got to get ready for class. Thank you for being on, right? Thank you for being on, Yastel. Remember that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. And may I say this because I forgot to mention my wife. Please check out my wife, the Honorable Amma, on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A and D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Last thing, I would be less than nothing as a man if my wife, who's a black sister out here, who people already don't like her husband, and be looking to try and off him and do certain things to him and his family already. I'd be less than nothing if I saw her sister out there, Breonna Taylor, get killed. And I wouldn't say that it's evil and I wouldn't call it out. And when the federal government comes by and gets the truth, and I didn't speak against that spirit that tries to say that our sisters deserve to die, I would be less than nothing. I wouldn't be deserving of being her husband. So say her name, Breonna Taylor. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Much love. Talk to y'all later. Peace. Speak against that spirit. Hallelujah. Stomp on that spirit's head.